I'm just off to get my brakes done, and there's a Commodore trying to race me. There he is.
Oh, Calais.
Anyways, all jokes aside. Guys, I had new brakes parts arrive for my car this week, so I'm pretty stoked. I got new rotors, pads, and brake lines, and I've ordered new fluid. So I'm hoping that she's pretty like set up for the track now, once I get my intercooler. But yeah, I also had my side splitters arrived as well, the Flow Design side splitters. They look pretty neat. I'm pretty keen to get them on, but I have ordered some paint from BMW just to touch up a few scratches I've got on the side skirts before I install them, just so it looks good. But I'm off to Gus Bruss's house. He's got the E85 Turbo BRZ, so we're going to install the brake parts on the car today and get this thing serviced, because I meant to do the brake fluid a while ago, and the brakes are a bit like, it's like, do you really want to pull up? But it's like I'll let you pull up, but it's like at the same time, like I'm not going to let you. Yeah, it's weird. But actually, long story. So I tried to order some Modal 600 fluid for the brakes, which is some good, like, I guess, fluid for the track. But the stuff I ordered wasn't in stock, so it's now taken over the weekend for them to ship it, and I'm not going to get it till next week. And me being, I guess, impatient to install the modifications and the race parts, I've bought more fluid today, which I'm about to go pick up, put that in today, and then I will put the new fluid, which is the better fluid, in a few weeks from now. So yeah, I'll have upgraded brake parts though.
It should be race ready.
Yeah, it'll be race ready once we get that intercooler in, because this thing's heat soaking like crazy at the moment. But yeah, one thing I want to actually look at too, guys, is getting the car wrapped and some, like, I know I've got the Dark Knight plates, and it's it does have that all black theme, but I'm thinking of getting a pretty out there design on the car, just so that it looks pretty mental. But I really want to make this thing something unique. Gym is going pretty good as well. I'm sitting at around the 80 kilo mark, and yeah, it's going well. Strength's feeling good, it's kind of coming back. Got some more protein the other day, which I've been taking religiously. I actually stopped taking supplements for quite some time. It's probably about 2 years that I just did not take protein powder or anything, but since getting back to the gym and going all out, like, I need to just use every supplement that I used to. So I'm back on the protein powder, the creatine monohydrate. I love that stuff, it adds the water weight, and BCAAs I try to use. I find they do work and they are good, but I just haven't been using them. There's a lot of content on the way. Mitch and I have planned so much. We've already been like planning ahead and getting all these plans and ideas down on paper. So yeah, we've got a lot planned, and we want to push this as far as we can, and hopefully make something out of it. So when Mitch gets his WRX, he's going to be throwing some mods on that thing as well, and I promise you guys it's going to look nuts. He's already showed me some of the things that he's going to order, and like, this thing's going to be mental.
WRX is coming pretty soon. They're really about to give me a time or anything. They just said 3 months from whenever I ordered it. But yeah, update on the surgery and whatnot. I get my cast off on my wrist in 2 weeks, I think it is. And then after that I should be going straight into surgery the week after that, fingers crossed.
Here we are. Just got to Repco. We're going to pick up the Penrite brake fluid, just so that we can do the brake lines today. I'm hoping we can do them today, otherwise this will be a waste of like, was it like 95 bucks or something? So guys, we've got the windows down, and I'll show you guys how loud this thing backfires. It's ridiculous. This thing even shoots out flames when you're on acceleration, changing through the gears. But if you're lucky, I'll get a shot up here. Let off the throttle, it pops like crazy. Yeah, it's pretty stupid. It's really loud. Arrived at Angus's house. First step, we have to loosen off the front wheels so we can take them off, and then we're going to jack it up at the rear and get the jack stands underneath. So this is the Gus Bruss, by the way. So and that's his car. That's the Turbo BRZ I was talking about before. But he's like, "You were talking about my car?"
Whole car just falls off.
Alright guys, so we've got her up on front jack.
It's loud.
So we've got her up on front jack stands, and now what we're going to do is we're going to jack her up from the rear on the diff, and then we can get the rear ones up, so then she'll be completely off the ground. We're going to take all 4 wheels off now, so we can access behind the brakes, and then we're going to install the lines. We just discovered that
Not front and rear.
these are Brembo brakes.
Lines and pads.
I did not even know that these stock calipers, well, the M calipers, were Brembo brakes. So that's pretty cool. I'm impressed. Now, aren't your Brembos too, Angus?
Yeah, STI Brembos.
He's got STI Brembos. I'll show you guys his setup. So he's actually got a pretty mint setup. Probably one of the best setups on a BRZ in Brisbane or anywhere that I have seen. You can see his endless brake pads in there and the STI calipers. Looks mint. This thing, you will not outrun it. Promise you, you will not outrun it.
I'll build mine to outrun it.
No, you won't. You won't. No, nobody outruns that thing. You wait, guys. Angus is going to have a mint edit up on the YouTube of his BRZ roaming the streets, and it will be killer. Isn't that right?
It will be running from the police. Part 2.
We'll be running from the police, that's what he says. So that's the brake rotor and the pads in. We have installed, well, Angus has installed that one. We just need to change the brake line. So it's looking pretty good, and I reckon it'll look really good once it's finished. Pretty keen to see feel the stopping power on this now, but have to kind of embed the pads. Here's the other side, so it looks a lot worse than the other side, especially with that rotor.
First, you need to start by removing these 4 pad pin bolts, and then the 2 big bolts on the rear of the caliper, which are 18 millimeters.
And they're 110 newton meters of torque spec, aren't they?
When you're doing them up, yeah.
Yeah, when you do them up.
So before you take out both of the bolts, leave one of them in there so you can push the pads back in. So you can take the pads out when you take the caliper off. So you just need to get some multi-grips, and then just put a pad here so it doesn't scratch your nice rotor up, and just pull the pads back down. Go back in pretty easily on these cars by the looks of it. And when you push the other pistons in, it can sort of push the others out, so you just want to sort of go back and double check that they're all pushed in properly, which they seem to be. Awesome. So then when you take this bolt out on the back, it all comes off really easily. Make sure you got a bucket ready to go. So you can place it on. You don't want to stretch that brake line if possible. However, we are replacing them, so I don't really care in this instance. The next step, you take this Allen key and just going to try and break it loose. It is a bit hard because the wheel will spin, but should come off fairly easily. And then your old rotor's off. You wouldn't want to put these on the cement if you were reusing these, but because we're not, doesn't matter. This is the most important part. Make sure you clean your hub. This bit you see when the wheel's on, so you probably just want to give it a little quick clean up as well, so it looks pretty when you put it all back together. Before you put brake rotors on any car, clean it with brake cleaner first, because it does have a light greasy coating so they don't rust when they get transported over. On the hub, once you've cleaned it as well, make sure you put a little bit of anti-seize on it. Keeps it from rusting together, so it's always easy to take your rotors off. With these BMWs, you've got a screw here.
Is that the new screw?
Yeah. You get a new screw with your kit as well. You gotta make sure you screw it in.
Alright guys, so Angus just installed the brake lines, the stainless steel brake lines. All you gotta do is get a 14mm on that end and an 11mm on the bottom part of that end. And once you screw that, you gotta move that top part first and then spin it around out of the bottom end and then pull it out. And then when you put it back in, you just gotta put the bottom part in first, spin it around, put them in the brackets. Might need a bit of adjusting in the brackets, those rubber parts on the line might need some adjusting so that fits on there properly. but then you just tighten that and then secure. But I would recommend a professional do the brake lines, just as they are the most important part. Alright, so it's the next morning. Got the front brakes done, flushed the fluid, and the rear lines are now on the rear. We're still yet to do the mid lines, which run up in there in the middle of the car. We didn't do those ones yet, so I'll just get a shop to do them. And along with that, I'll probably get better fluid put in here with a proper flush. Alright guys, the wheels are back on. Looks way better. I love the front brakes, they look so good. They stop incredibly hard. Incredibly hard. So when I was embedding the brakes, it was just a series of driving up to 80 kilometers per hour as fast as you could, and then applying the brakes as hard as possible, all the way down to pretty much a stop, but not a stop entirely, about 5 kilometers per hour, and then flogging it back up to 80 and doing that, repeating 10 to 15 times to embed the brake pads. And boy does she stop. It's insane. So I've got the DTC 30 like track pads on there. They're kind of like entry-level track, as well as those upgraded ECS tuning rotors. They're the 2-piece rotor, which look great. I've also got the ECS tuning stainless steel braided brake lines, and they're great. I did the front and the rear, but Angus said it was a bit too hard to do the mid one. So there's actually mid ones that people say do improve the brake feel a bit, but it's just a bit too hard to do. But did a fluid change and now she's great. The brakes feel amazing. I can't believe how hard she actually brakes. It's pretty nuts. With the fluid, I've actually got some Modal 660 coming, which I'm still waiting on. So I just put some Penrite 600 racing fluid in there for the time being, which is still really good. But when that modal comes, I reckon I'll take it back to the shop. I'll get a shop to change the midlines for me, and as well as do a flush of the brake fluid with the Modal 660 fluid. So that should be even better. I just finished washing the car. She's looking super shiny. Give you guys a look while she's clean, because she's not usually clean. And yeah.